Welcome, learners, to another deep dive. Today we're plunging into V.S. Naipaul's Nobel Prize-winning novel, Magic Seeds.
Mm.
This isn't just, any book. It's a really profound journey. Critics have talked about its crushingly economical observations and its rich, provocative ideas.
Right.
So our mission today for this deep dive is to follow the extraordinary Odyssey of its central character, Willie Chandran.
Yeah.
As he navigates this world of shifting identities, the pull of political idealism, and that really personal, often elusive search for somewhere to belong. Okay, let's unpack this.
Exactly. And this deep dive into Magic Seeds, it's not really about just summarizing the plot, is it?
No, not at all.
It's more about understanding what it means to be truly informed.
Mm-hmm.
Not just about places or events, but about the complex human spirit that inhabits them.
Mm.
Naipaul, he masterfully distills his core themes here.
Yeah.
Disillusionment, the pursuit of authenticity, that search for meaning in a pretty chaotic world.
Yeah.
What's particularly striking, I think, is how Willie's very personal quest, his journey, it illuminates these much larger questions about history, about culture, and, well, the ever-evolving nature of self-discovery itself.
Okay, so let's start where the book starts. We begin with Willie Chandran in Berlin.
Right.
He's living in what Naipaul calls a temporary half-and-half way, enjoying a, quote, great refreshment after 18 years in Africa.
Mm-hmm. I kind of pause.
Exactly. He's almost like a tourist. No demands, no anxiety. It sounds quite peaceful, actually.
It does.
But this tranquil bubble, it gets burst pretty violently by his sister, Sarajini.
Ah, yes, Sarajini.
She confronts him with this really stark, almost brutal question. Do you have any idea of where you can go? Is there anything you feel you want to do?
Wow. Straight to the point.
Yeah. That's quite the intervention, isn't it? It immediately forces us, and Willie, to look at his perpetual outsider status.
It absolutely does. I mean, this opening scene, it just immediately establishes Willie's central dilemma. He's a man constantly searching for firm footing, always defining himself by places he's left or just arrived in. And his sister's words, they're a direct accusation.
They really are.
She tells him straight up, you are on the outside because you wanted to be. You've always preferred to hide. And then she hits him with this. It's the colonial psychosis, the caste psychosis.
Okay, let's pause there. Colonial psychosis, caste psychosis. What does she really mean by that?
Well, it's heavy stuff. Colonial psychosis here, it refers to that deep, internalized psychological impact of living under colonial rule. That feeling of being perpetually displaced, caught between cultures, never quite belonging anywhere. It's a kind of internal exile.
Okay.
And caste psychosis, that speaks to the inherited social and psychological baggage of India's rigid caste system, even for someone like Willie who's been away.
Right. Even if he's physically left, it's still part of his makeup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sarajini's suggesting these massive forces have, deeply shaped Willie's internal landscape, pushing him into this habit of perpetual withdrawal.
Hiding.
And this raises a really crucial question, I think. How much of our identity is actually shaped by these sometimes overwhelming external circumstances, and how much by the internal choices we think we're making?
That's such a vital distinction, yeah. And it sets the stage perfectly for what happens next, because Sarajini, who has her own sort of radical leanings,
Right.
she introduces Willie to the idea of Kendapalli's new revolution happening in India.
Okay. The lure of a cause.
Exactly. And Willie, he kind of romanticizes this. He sees it as a potential healing book, something that maybe might have made him another man 25 years earlier.
The what if.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So his return to India, it isn't just a trip. It's meant to be this transformation, a dive into purpose.
Yeah.
But his arrival in India is, well, immediately jarring.
Uh-oh.
Naipaul describes him at the Frankfurt airport, waiting for the flight, in the little pen where passengers for India were assembled. And even there, the terrible India of Indian family life begins to assault him.
Wow. Assault him. Strong word.
It really is. He observes the people, the soft physiques, the crinkled, much-used plastic shop bags, and he feels this palpable panic at the thought of the India that was approaching. That imagery, the little pen, the assault. It's so visceral, isn't it?
It really is. It hammers home his discomfort before he even gets there. And it just underscores that dangerous gap between, abstract idealism and the messy, often uncomfortable reality.
Absolutely.
His romantic notions about revolution, they just start to crumble almost immediately when he encounters the physical reality of the Indian airport.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, Naipaul describes the rough carpentry, the whitewashed concrete, this small, dark, squatting woman cleaning, giving the floor a suggestion of thinly spread grime. It's all very unromanticized.
Right.
And even his attempts to intellectually prepare himself, like trying to study advanced geometry on the flight,
Yeah.
they fail. Dim light, no paper. It's Naipaul showing us, I think, that his intellectual planning, his idealistic fantasies, they're just utterly disconnected from the ground truth. And then we meet Joseph,
Yeah.
another revolutionary.
Okay.
And he offers this chillingly cynical perspective. He describes the Lin Piao line, which is a reference to a more dogmatic, violent phase of Maoism in China.
Right.
He says it turns revolution into middle-class theater, where young middle-class exhibitionists put on peasant clothes and go around killing policemen.
Ooh, that's bleak.
It is. And Joseph also talks about India's sacred poverty, framing it not as a moral failing, but as this deep historical wound, the sort of unavenged nature of the country's defeat, he suggests.
Wow.
So what Naipaul is doing here so powerfully is highlighting this dangerous chasm between abstract ideology and the complex, often brutal realities of human experience.
Yeah.
It really forces you to question whether any revolution can ever truly live up to its idealized promise.
That cynicism from Joseph, it must just strip away any remaining romanticism for Willie.
You'd think so.
So despite his discomfort, despite the warnings, Willie joins a guerrilla training camp. He dons an olive uniform, complete with a red satin star.
Trying on a new identity.
Exactly. And initially, it provides this new, easy, sheltering identity. He's looking for belonging, for purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the illusion, as you said, it's incredibly short-lived.
It doesn't last long.
No. A police raid by the Greyhounds, the special anti-guerrilla force, it just exposes the raw fear and, frankly, the disarray within the camp.
Right. The reality check.
And Willie's internal thought at this moment is incredibly revealing. He thinks, if I was concerned with making a revolution for the defeated and the insulted, these are not the men I would want with me. I would go to the poor themselves.
Ah. So he's seeing the gap between the ideal and the actual people involved.
Precisely. He's seeing the stark difference between his idea of revolution and the flawed, sometimes, terrifying reality of the people actually trying to carry it out.
Absolutely. And Naipaul is just unflinching here. He delves right into the harsh moral landscape of revolutionary action.
Yeah.
Willie's initial sense of purpose is just continually challenged by these violent, ambiguous realities. And then comes the really shocking part.
The execution.
Yes. The utterly brutal, matter-of-fact execution of Raja, a scooter taxi driver, carried out by Willie's companion, Bhojan Narayan, just for suspected betrayal.
And the detail Naipaul includes.
It's harrowing. Raja's elder brother's wife begging, "Maim him, sir. Take away an arm or a leg. Please don't kill him."
God. It just chills you to the bone.
It really does. And this act, and Willie's complex reaction to it, he's a sort of complicit by inaction, it marks this profound, sickening shift in his understanding of the movement.
How does he react internally?
Well, he notes how his perception of Bhojan Narayan changes. He says, "I knew that the other Bhojan Narayan, the man I distrusted, is still there, but now I have to look very hard for him. The later man is the man I know and understand."
So it's not about liking him more.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the capacity for ruthlessness that was always beneath the surface, now fully revealed. It really compels us, the readers, to ask, what happens to our moral compass when we commit to a cause that demands such extreme sacrifices and actions? Naipaul shows us, I think, that the pursuit of revolution often strips individuals of their humanity, revealing the chilling pragmatism required to survive within those movements.
That scene really sticks with you, doesn't it? It just completely redefines the stakes.
It does.
So the movement inevitably declines, falters.
As these things often do.
And it leads to Willie's arrest and imprisonment. But here's the paradox.
Yeah.
Jail, surprisingly, offers him a kind of blessed order and even renewal.
Renewal in jail.
Yeah. He realizes that most of my time in the movement was spent in idleness. And the hollow emptiness of his revolutionary identity becomes painfully clear. It almost sounds like a relief, which is astonishing given his circumstances, you know?
It really is a powerful reversal.
Yeah.
Jail becomes this crucible for self-examination. It forces Willie to shed those false identities and confront his core self.
And he makes a crucial choice in there, right?
He does. What's truly pivotal is his choice to reject the favored treatment offered in the political cell.
Why does he do that?
He finds the discussions there about Mao, Lenin, all the ideology just shallow and lying and repetitive. He actually calls it terrible, corrupting intellectual work.
Wow, corrupting.
Yeah. So he asked to be moved among the ordinary criminals. And he explicitly says, I want to be with my own thoughts. He's prioritizing intellectual honesty, real thinking, over just repeating ideological lines.
That's a huge step towards authenticity.
It's profound. And while he's in jail, he gets a letter from Sarojini.
Ah, his sister again.
Yeah. And it reveals her own deep guilt and disillusionment. She admits she has sent many people to their doom and that she was being followed by intelligence people.
So the idealism crashed for her too.
Completely. She shares her heartbreak at the real-world consequences of their ideals. What Naipaul shows us, I think, is that true freedom for Willie isn't found in a political movement or a specific ideology, but in the quiet, often painful act of stripping away pretense and cultivating an inner intellectual life.
Right.
It offers us, the listeners, maybe a glimpse into the human capacity for adaptation, but also the deep psychological cost of living through these prolonged periods of instability and ideological confusion.
And it really makes you wonder what kind of choices we would make under similar pressure, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So upon his release, Willie returns to London.
Back to London.
But it's a city transformed by what Naipaul calls a great churning in the world. Suddenly, there are black people everywhere, and Japanese, and people who looked like Arabs. It's a very different London than the one he left years before.
A globalized city.
Yeah. And with this new landscape, Willie feels this profound relief. He thinks, now I don't have to join anybody. Now I can only celebrate what I am or what I have become.
Interesting. A kind of freedom and anonymity, maybe?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
And he connects with Roger, an old friend who helps him out. But Roger's living his own complex life. Failing marriage, involved in some precarious property caper with a banker.
More complexity.
Definitely. But here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Roger makes this peculiar literary discovery. The Diaries of A.J. Munby.
Munby, the Victorian diarist.
That's the one. Fascinated by working women and their red hands. And this Victorian fascination is then surprisingly mirrored or echoed in Roger's own relationship with Marion, a woman from a council estate.
Huh. That's quite a connection.
Yeah.
A Victorian obsession popping up in modern London.
It is really striking.
It is, and it's a masterful stroke by Naipaul, isn't it? To introduce a different kind of deep dive, not political revolution, but into societal structures, class, hidden lives.
Yeah.
Munby's Victorian observations on, servant women in their dirt, they offer this historical mirror to contemporary social stratification. It suggests how deeply ingrained these class dynamics still are, even if they look different now. Roger himself observes very keenly, he says, the servant class has vanished. No one knows what they have metamorphosed into. One thing we can be sure of is that we have not lost them, that they are still in varying ways with us in culture and attitudes of dependence.
Wow. That's quite an insight.
It really is. And through Marion, Roger's partner, this hard truth is revealed about her frightening and brutal council estate life. A childhood of beatings and sexual abuse. She was one of her mother's 4 mistakes by different men. It's just a stark reminder of the often unseen struggles beneath the surface of, polite society.
Gosh, those hidden histories are truly unsettling, especially Marion's.
Yeah. And Roger's own reflections on his low sexual energy, which he sees as a kind of freedom, that adds another layer too. It shows how personal predispositions interact with social context, shaping intimacy and desire in complex ways. Naipaul's revealing here, I think, that behind every seemingly ordinary life, there are these profound, often painful, histories and societal forces at play. They shape our relationships, our desires, our very perception of ourselves.
So after all this upheaval, all this searching, Willie finally seems to find his footing back in London.
A different kind of footing.
Right. He gets a job at an architectural magazine, and he starts attending courses at Barnet College, and he discovers this genuine passion for learning.
Something clicks.
Yeah. He finds his fascination in things like the window tax and the brick tax in England and India, connecting architecture directly to social history.
Interesting connection.
He ponders the simplest and most modest house as something that expressed the essence of a culture.
It's such a shift, isn't it? From grand revolution to the quiet contemplation of structures and their history.
A huge shift.
And this intellectual engagement, it brings him a different kind of optimism, a sense of a new way of experiencing his life. It's a really profound pivot for Willie, I think. His architectural journey, It signifies this crucial shift from seeking external revolution to an internal search for meaningful vocation.
Yeah, building something within himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This late-life intellectual awakening, anchored in the tangible history of buildings, it stands in such stark contrast to his earlier, more abstract, ideological pursuits. It's almost as if he's finally building a stable structure within himself rather than trying to, demolish and rebuild the whole world. There's even this amusing anecdote Willie hears from a Malaysian Chinese classmate
Oh, yeah.
about an Alibaba construction business where a Malay Muslim acts as the front man, the Ali, to placate the government.
Right.
While a Chinese Baba guides everything from the background. It's this clever little commentary on cultural adaptation and hidden power structures.
Which connects back to Willie's own experiences.
Subtly, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also this bogus discussion about diet as the great divider among his classmates, where the world is simply divided by those who eat pigs and those who don't.
Huh.
Totally. And it perfectly underscores how cultural or religious differences can often obscure deeper understandings, a lesson Willie has learned repeatedly, the hard way, throughout his travels.
Ooh.
So what Naipaul is showing us through Willie's evolving understanding is that maybe true work and vocation aren't always about grand gestures or radical change, but often about finding grounded purpose, quiet dedication to craft, to knowledge, and using that to anchor oneself in a complex world.
That's a really powerful realization for Willie. Meanwhile, though, Roger's life takes a darker turn.
Ah, the contrast.
Yeah, his property caper collapses, his marriage fails, and he's just lamenting the modern state of work, saying, "Today we are all our own slaves."
Oof, despair.
He's grappling with this growing hate and rage, contrasting it bitterly with his ideal of dying peacefully, like Van Gogh smoking a pipe. It's a really stark counterpoint to Willie's burgeoning sense of quiet purpose.
Two very different paths emerging.
Exactly. Willie, though, he's now dreaming of pursuing architecture seriously. He's finally recognizing that life can never be simplified the way he once thought or hoped. He seems to be shedding the vanity of his younger self for a more grounded understanding.
Accepting the complexity.
Willie Chandran's journey through Naipaul's magic seeds, it really is a testament to the unpredictable nature of life, isn't it? The seductive pull of ideals and then the often harsh realities that strip them away.
Absolutely.
From that temporary haven in Berlin, through the violent crucible of revolution in India, the stark introspection of jail, and finally to this new, complex London, Willie constantly strives to understand himself and the world around him. He sheds old vanities, develops a clearer, perhaps more authentic sense of personal identity. So, thinking about our listeners, what does this all mean for you as the learner navigating your own complex world?
Well, Naipaul, through Willie's relentless self-interrogation and his encounters with all these diverse, complicated characters, he doesn't offer easy answers, does he?
No, definitely not.
Instead, he invites us to truly consider the, quote, darkness in which everybody walked, the profound impact of history, of social structures, and maybe the quiet strength found in truly seeing others, and ultimately ourselves, beyond our own idealized narratives. Willie's final realization that unless we understand people's other side, Indian, Japanese, African, we cannot truly understand them. That's a powerful call for empathetic engagement, isn't it?
It really is. A rejection of simplistic thinking.
Exactly. It pushes us beyond just surface observations into the hidden depths of human experience. So perhaps the magic seeds of the title. Maybe they aren't about grand transformations or sweeping revolutions after all.
What are they then?
Perhaps they're the small, hard-won insights. Those shifts in perspective that allow us to shed vanity, to embrace the complicated, often contradictory truths of our existence, making peace somehow with the imperfections of ourselves and of society.
A different kind of growth.
Exactly. So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, is what magic seeds might you be cultivating, perhaps without even realizing it, in your own life's journey, even as you navigate all its complexities?